We're here in Richmond, Virginia at the state capitol building. This is basically right in the heart of downtown Richmond, a skyline that I didn't expect to be this large. You can see a couple of tall buildings in the back, but most of the tall buildings are facing that way. But besides that, yeah, let's get into it.
In America exists 50 states, each one containing a unique and grand capitol building. My name is Fabiano, and in this series I will visit every capitol building, describing the history, viewing the architecture, and portraying the representation of a state's culture.
This building was designed by Thomas Jefferson, started construction in 1788 and finished in 1796. It is the second oldest capitol building. The only older one is in Maryland. The building was designed by one of these famous French buildings that the Romans built in 2 AD. Right, Thomas Jefferson saw it on his visit to France and he modeled it after that building. In terms of the building's history, it served as a Confederate capital alongside the Alabama State Capitol building in Montgomery from 1861 until 1865. Besides that, renovations added these two left and right wings in around 1906, and then there was internal renovations from 2003 to 2007. There's a big internal underground entrance, like visitor center, kind of like the federal Capitol building in DC. So that's very interesting to actually go in. You basically come along an entrance over there, you walk under the Capitol, and then you can get up into the Capitol from underground. And because Thomas Jefferson designed this off the building in France, this was the first building in the New World with columns and to be designed in this style of architecture. The US Capitol took a lot of inspiration from this, and then furthermore, all of the state capitol buildings in the US took inspiration from that. So basically this building started the whole column trend here in America.
Before I get into the building, I wanted to mention the 1870 tragedy that occurred in this building. So basically, this is 5 years after the end of the American Civil War, right? And so Virginia had a lot of political disputes, and they wanted to settle all of that. So basically, a bunch of leadership of the government of Richmond went into this state capitol building, and they had a dispute with the Virginia Supreme Court. And so basically they held a hearing on April 27th, 1870, and a bunch of people crowded in. I'm talking hundreds of people on this building in the second floor, and all of that weight literally collapsed the floor, and a bunch of people fell 40 feet. And in the end, 62 people died and 251 people were injured. It was one of the craziest tragedies that I've heard about in one of these state capitol buildings, and it's really sad. And it happened in 1870, so it was a long time ago, but to still be in a building where that happened, it really just kind of you got to really think of all of that horror that happened because a building collapsed. So this is the view of the Capitol building from Google Earth. You can see that it is basically in the heart of Richmond, and Richmond has a way more impressive skyline and building feel than you would really think of. I know it's a big city, but being from Charlotte, I don't really think of it as that big of a city, and it's also just kind of really out of place compared to other spots Washington DC. But I really like this city, and the Capitol building, it looks small in terms of the skyline, but when you're actually there, it's really sizable. So now onto the interior. So this is actually a really cool little model of the state capitol building, but like I said, the interior is really new and modern, and it reminds me a lot of the US Capitol. It is so stunning compared to a lot of these other state capitol buildings. I mean, the interior, it's just so beautiful, it's so modern. It's really kind of shocking because the outside of the Capitol, it looks really cool, but it doesn't seem like it's the largest Capitol, but a bulk of this interior detail is actually completely underground, and it's basically all of that grass and grounds in front of the Capitol is pretty much all what you're looking at here. Here is the visitor center log. Of course, we had to fill it out. There's me filling it out right here. You can see I have my filming backpack on just because we kind of need it for the tripod. But yeah, again, we always try to fill these out at every state capitol building we go to. Here's Matt filling it out. He wore his Auburn t-shirt that day. And yeah, I mean, it's really fun to look through where people have come from. Here is us getting our stamp in our state capitol booklet. Gotta do it every time we go to another capitol. And yeah, there's so much details. This has a bunch of historical stuff on the sides. Up there is a statue of Thomas Jefferson. There's also a massive statue of George Washington on the inside as well. I mean, when you want to talk about Capitol interiors, this is one of the best, by far. Especially compared to the other ones we've been to. Here is the Jefferson statue. massive statue inside of this really cool rotunda, but it's like a built rotunda where it's like completely inside, and you have this like aerial like sunlight roof, but you can't actually see it from the outside. And yeah, oh, there's this really cool glass elevator. I don't know why I put a clip in there, but it was a really cool elevator. Here's a window outside from inside. And yeah, I mean, we kept going. Again, this interior went on forever. A bulk of this video is just going to be taking place inside, which I don't mind. A good interior really matters. Oh, this is really cool. So that was the 2024 Virginia delegates. They have these like big portraits of all of the House and the Senate, dating back so long, right? They probably have the original ones, but the ones that were in this room that we could look at went back all the way until 1857. It's just crazy. These people right here voted to secede from the Union, and they're like official portraits that they had up at the time are just sitting here in the Capitol building for anyone in the public to just look at. It's crazy. There's the stairs. These stairs basically went up like 5 flights, and we took them all up to the top. This is the second floor. That's the statue of George Washington. So the story here is this is the only like statue that he actually posed his face and likeness for. So basically every other statue that is ever made off of him is based off of the one that is currently here in this room that you're looking at. And it's very interesting, right? Because he never ever posed for another statue in his life. I mean, that's what the person at the Capitol building that was working here told us. It's a very interesting fact. Here is the old House chamber. Really cool. This is the new House chamber, so you can tell it's modern because they have all of the technology there that you would need, and you know, it looks like it's in session. Really cool building. Here's another view. This is from where the top of the stairs would come out to be. Here's another really cool model of the Capitol. Like I said, there was no wings on the side. This is the Declaration of Independence. So every state from the 13 colonies got their own copy of the Declaration of Independence. So Virginia's is just hanging up there. Here's the Senate chamber. Again, this is currently in use. You can see all the technology everywhere, and you know, the chairs look comfortable. This is the governor's office. I believe it is Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is the current governor, but I think there's an election actually taking place this year. This is just office that was open, so I got a shot of it because it looked cool. Ooh, this is really cool. That's an old map of Virginia when West Virginia was still part of it and all the counties were there. And yeah, that was the interior. So here's the exterior. So you can see the city of Richmond has a really cool skyline, and it completely surrounds the Capitol building. It's amazing. Richmond is one of the better cities for having like a state capital. It's very centrally located, and all of the buildings around it really complement it. A lot of these cities we went to on this trip specifically had like small cities, not that much going on, but you can see here there's a lot of really big buildings around the Capitol. Looks great. There's also this amazing grounds. The parking wasn't bad, but I like a Capitol where there's not like parking spots literally right outside. There's this really cool old church that's also right across the street, and then there's this statue of George Washington that actually used the statue of George Washington from the inside of the Capitol to model for this statue that you're currently seeing here. And yeah, I mean, again, this was one of the better buildings. The exterior is, you know, it's not the best, but it's definitely not lacking, and the interior is just absolutely phenomenal. And this is actually where you go to get into the interior. So yeah, one of the better buildings. I would definitely visit it. It's probably about like 2.5 hours away from Washington DC, and it has so much history inside of it.
Okay, so that was the Virginia Capitol building. It's right behind me. We're on the backside now. We got this really cool church right there. I put some clips of it. There's this really nice George Washington statue and everything like that. Definitely one of the best interiors we've been in so far. Way better than the interior in North Carolina. It's a great Capitol. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. This was the third of these videos that we've done, but I might not upload it the third. I'm doing a bunch at the same time. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and as always, I hope you have a great day.